We had a carjacking at the Starbucks, 6225 Charles Street. Suspect came back. State Chief passing Linhurst.
This is confirmed. I'm still trying to get the tag number right now from the gentleman.
Thinking about a black male, 6 feet, displayed a black weapon. I don't type.
We have a carjacking just came out, Cold Spring in the Alameda.
Type of carjacking, 1708 West Rogers. 1708 West Rogers on the parking lot.
No direction to travel at this time. Anyone coming in contact with same, use caution.
Number 1, adult male and female. Clothing description unknown. They had a handgun. Arrived in a white BMW. There was a black female in the rear seat.
A white BMW. He got away in the victim's SUV, and the female in the white BMW sped off towards Baltimore City.
Yo, 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 what it is, people, we is back. Another day on Keep It G News. And there y'all, we're in Baltimore. Matter of fact, we're in the whole DMV. Because there's a problem going on in the DMV right now. Washington, D.C., major problem. But it's a problem in Baltimore, too. And it's involving carjacking, as y'all just heard in the beginning clips. It's a lot of it going on. Matter of fact, it's affecting most states in America right now. You know, carjackings has been on the incline maybe for the last 3-4 years. And I get it. You know, nobody wants their car taken. I know I'd be highly upset if I was to go in the store and come back and my car is gone. But that's just another way that they take them. You know, they're actually putting guns in people's faces and snatching people out their cars. Like, it's that serious, it's that deep. So in this video, that's what we're going to discuss, because it was just a major arrest in my city involving these car thefts or these carjackings. Well, at least they're trying to make it seem like it's major. But is it really major? We're going to discuss that. As well as I got some things to say to the carjackers, because in this video, if this what y'all want to be involved in, you're going to learn something very important that you might didn't know. You know, for the carjackers, for the ones that think this is the way to go, and for ones that like to enjoy riding in free cars, like they call them in D.C. D.C. stealing so many cars, they even call their music free car music. Like it's a game, but it ain't. And if you listen to these victims that was involved in some of these car thefts, they'll tell you.
This Baltimore woman, not wanting to show her face, reliving the horrifying moments of Saturday morning, just before 2 o'clock, when a car that was following her suddenly tried to make her a target.
They sped in front of my car and kind of angled it, and the passenger exited the car quickly, sprinted up to my driver's side, and pointed a gun at my head and said to exit the vehicle.
Rideshare drivers have been the targets of criminals both around the country and in Baltimore over the past year. Last November and December in Baltimore City, there were at least 39 cases, and police vowed to crack down.
This surveillance video shows the moment a large group of suspects surrounded a man before one of them gets in his car. It's part of a rash of reported robberies and carjackings in southeast Baltimore Thursday morning, some of which were successful.
It's terrible that these kids are going around just taking stuff.
Around 10 o'clock Thursday morning, police say they noticed a vehicle fitting the description of one taken during an armed carjacking in Southeast. Officers stopped the car at the 3400 block of West Lexington Street in southwest Baltimore, and that's when investigators say the suspects bailed out of the car.
Frightening moments around 10 last night in northeast Baltimore when a rideshare driver was carjacked at gunpoint. It happened in the 5200 block of Kelway Road. Police say the two suspects were wearing masks, and the 55-year-old victim was ordered to the back of his car and driven to an unknown location. He ran to the 1100 block of Cold Spring Lane. Two men with a rifle carjacked a rideshare driver at Latrobe Homes in East Baltimore.
Why are you carjacking?
Police say the victim was hit in the head with a handgun. The suspect was later caught with the help of Foxtrot. Tony is reacting to an attempted carjacking at this gas station on York Road in Govins. Police tell 11 News the suspects showed a handgun and told the victim to give up his keys. When he said he didn't have them, he was hit in the head with the handgun. The suspects then drove off in a white SUV.
Watch your surroundings and everything like that. You got to stay ready at all times.
Baltimore isn't alone. Carjackings are also up in the D.C. metro area this week. Suspects carjacked an FBI employee in Washington, D.C. And in Bethesda, police say this dash cam video shows 3 carjacking suspects. They didn't get away with the car because it had a manual transmission and they couldn't drive it. In many cases, police say the suspects are juveniles.
Using handguns, rifles, stun handguns and pepper spray.
And a lot of people have pointed to the pandemic, as being the reason, the stressors, the financial strains, the fact that cars cost a lot of money. But it's also true that there are a lot of cars out there, and there are people who see those as targets.
Ridiculous. I mean, I'm scared of children.
And before I continue, make sure you like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe to the channel. That is a must. Because everybody talking about Diddy right now, and I talked about Diddy yesterday, yo, but this is a lot more real topics that we need to discuss in our community, and carjacking is one of them. Because, like I said, yo, that's one of the worst things you can do. You got kids doing bump and runs, where they bump into your car, and then when you get out thinking it's a normal, ordinary accident, they steal your car. You got kids, and they all kids, for the most part, 21 and under. I call them kids. Juvenile, 16, 15. Yeah, they getting busy, all stealing cars. And they got situations where you'll be riding down the street and they'll try to block you off. Come from you both angles and try to secure you in a spot so they can steal your car. And that is very traumatizing to the average everyday citizen. Even to somebody like me. That would be traumatizing to see somebody try to snatch me out my vehicle when I'm just trying to go along my day. And y'all just heard in them clips, so they robbing everybody. They robbing Uber workers, Lyft drivers. Like, yo, come on now. These people just trying to make a dollar just like everybody else, yo. But I told y'all in my city, we had a problem. But it's not just Baltimore. Carjacking is actually up in the DMV area. But all across the United States, yo, carjacking is on the rise. And this is not the first time I talked about this topic. I did a video on my channel before when I talked about the guy that made that Kid Boys thing popular. The white boy that gets no recognition in none of this thing. You understand? And I think he deserves some level of culpability, yo, because he introduced this free car thing to the world. He introduced this stealing cars with USB cords to the world. Most people didn't know nothing about this until he made it a thing. But we know how this go. Something get introduced to the black community, and the black community faced all the backlash for it when we wasn't the one started it. We didn't make it popular, or none of that. But it's cool. We gotta learn to adapt. And in my city, recently, there just was a major arrest.
Authorities announced the takedown of a criminal enterprise. 6 suspects arrested and charged, 4 adults, 2 youth, in a string of violent crimes across Baltimore City between spring 2022 and summer 2023.
On several occasions, the group pistol whipped the victim and or shot the victims or otherwise assaulted the victims.
More than 80 different violent criminal acts, authorities say, including homicide, attempted murder, and more than 35 armed carjackings. In fact, authorities said today, this criminal enterprise is responsible for about half of all the carjackings in the city in that time frame they were active. The crew was organized, followed a pattern, displayed and used handguns,
which they would often point at the victims' heads, and demanding the victims give over their property, threatening to shoot the victims and saying things like, "Get the F out or we will kill you," and "Give me everything before I blow your head off." On one occasion, after they forced the victim onto the ground, one member of the group told another member to run the victim over.
And ballistics, police say, from a gun used to shoot and kill a woman in November 2022 is the link in the chain that ultimately connects all of these cases.
Though nothing can bring back the life that was stolen or erase the traumatic stress that accompanied these attacks, I hope these indictments help bring some peace of mind to the victims and their families.
The indictments also allege the crew had a base of operations and storage facilities at a series of hubs in the city where they stashed the stolen vehicles and other stolen items, which they allegedly posed with and posted for sale on social media, including Facebook Marketplace.
Well, nothing surprises me in this line of work, right? What they do.
Did social media help crack the case? Reporters asked today. Officials declined to answer that specifically. Why were the indictments sealed since October? Officials said the bulk of the arrests happened last fall, but they couldn't make this public until they arrested the 6th man late last month. So then reporters asked if these suspects were allegedly taken off the streets so long ago, why do similar crimes continue? Are you looking into offshoots or other groups? And this is the official answer. 11 News got. The AG's organized crime unit, they told us today, currently has several similar ongoing investigations where similar patterns are being used. They said, stay tuned for more announcements like the one they had today.
Now, the guy that made this popular, and I know carjacking's been going on since the beginning of the time. You know, my generation did it. But I ain't never seen it to the level that it is now. But the guy that made it popular in modern day to the youth is a guy by the name of Tommy G. Tommy G did a video on the Kid Boys. And I forgot what city we was in, but at this time, yo, this was not a worldwide thing when you had kids talking to these kids. It got so bad that people was actually suing Kia for their cars being so easily accessible to thieves. And that video got 5 to 7 million views. But if you go back to the video now, the part where he showed the kids stealing the cars, it took out the video. You understand? So he was able to introduce this to the world and just walk off into the moonlight. No problem. No level of accountability. No nothing. And like I say, yo, most people didn't know anything about this. But as you just seen with these kids in Baltimore, they just charged them with 35 carjackings. Now they're going to spend a nice portion of their life in prison. But this is what happens, and I said all the time, you got kids raising kids, you know. You got 16, 15-year-olds hanging with 21-year-olds. They still young in their own right, you know. Young-minded physically and mentally. But they got enough sense to be able to influence the younger generation under them. That's why parenting plays a major role, yo, in avoiding these situations, yo. We got to get better at knowing what our kids are involved in. And now to get it, it's hard. Trust me. Especially if you're a single parent. Yo, but we can't keep going out like this. You know, especially when you got a large percentage of the black community calling for the execution of these boys. And the youth, 21 years old, 20 years old. Like, look at their faces, y'all, like they don't even got hair on them. Like, they still young, learning, and developing. But the police and the news are treating these kids like full-blooded, cold-hearted criminals. And they may be. But why? You understand? That's what I always look at. Why did they become this way? How? How did this happen? How did some kids so young get involved in something so vicious? Because carjacking is a vicious thing to do, yo. You might gotta seriously assault somebody. In this situation, a woman actually lost her life.
Gunshots in one of Baltimore's upscale neighborhoods early this morning have left a woman dead, and police still trying to identify her.
Yeah, it's just the second murder in that neighborhood this year. WMAR 2 News' Jeff Hager has more on that story tonight.
Hours after a shooting in the 2500 block of Brookfield Avenue and Reservoir Hill, police officers and detectives were knocking at every door, trying to piece together a shooting just after 4 o'clock in the morning that cost a woman her life.
I woke up, I heard some shots, 3 or 4 shots, and I woke up and I just heard a car speed down the street, and I looked out the window, but I didn't see anyone.
Police say the victim was driven about a half a mile away here to the intersection of West 28th and Sisson Street. Officers arriving on the scene found the female victim suffering from an apparent gunshot wound to the upper body. She later died at an area hospital. It remains unclear who she was with at the time and who would have gunned her down inside the car. But now a woman is dead, and a neighborhood highly regarded as one relatively unscathed by violence has had a startling wake-up call.
I'm like, what in the world is going on? This is a nice neighborhood. It's quiet. It's a lot going on in the neighborhood. We do a lot of community service, so I'm just not understanding, what
I want to send my condolences to anybody that was affected throughout this whole situation, yo, and prayers and blessings to that woman who lost her life, yo, 38 years old, relatively young, same age I am now. Yo, but we dealing with a group of kids, yo. And I'm going to keep calling them kids. Some people might not like it, but that's what I see when I look at them. I see kids, 21 and under. But we talking about 80 violent crimes. Did y'all hear how many counts? 100-something counts. 35 carjackings. And some of them carjackings was attempt murders. First-degree assaults. That's what I mean by when you get these charges of armed robbery and anything involved in it, they're going to clear the books and they're going to hit them boys with some hefty charges. They probably charge them more than likely with any charge that they can possibly fit under each count. They're going to make room. And I doubt if they get found guilty on every count, yo, but getting found guilty on 25 of them is enough to sit them down for 80 years in prison. And I don't think anybody wins in these situations, yo, when you got youth terrorizing the community. Now, the community is traumatized. You take youth out the way, they're going to spend the rest of their life in prison, so now we're damaging the next generation under us because I just don't like it, yo. I don't think anybody wins, yo, but some people might disagree. And I think a lot of people disagree, yo, because when you read the comments on some of these posts, you hear black people saying, yo, look, send them to prison. We need to get them off the streets. It's like we be failing to realize, yo, that these are our kids. They're our kids. That's our problem. We got to get better with raising our children so they don't become this. You know, because they didn't do this on their own. They had help to become who they are today. You know, it was a corroborated effort for these boys to become who they were today. And I refuse to believe that this was a elaborate scheme and plot. Not at the age. Not knowing that the education system and education level in Baltimore is pretty low. So I have a hard time believing that they was able to establish anything elaborate to steal these cars. You know, they just was doing it on their own. I don't think no money was made out of this. It was all for kicks and fun and, you know, post on social media, you know, things that right now gets presented to the people like it's the right thing to do, like you need to have this validation in order to be somebody. That might be what creates these type of kids. But let me know how y'all feel about us in the comments. I just think this is another situation where y'all don't nobody win. I'm not never happy to see this happen, yo, even though carjacking, yo, is a treacherous thing to do, yo, and it's a very trauma-filled thing to endure for the people that's having to endure it on behalf of these boys. You understand? I just wish that we could get better beforehand, you know, so we don't have to keep raising children this way. You know, they don't have to keep coming out and thinking, oh, this is the way to go. Fast money, fast cars, everything fast. And I just wish they could just slow down a little bit. You know, let things process, think things through, yo, so you don't put yourself in this type of situation, because these boys is in a tough situation. And I've been seeing people that was close to them talking about freedom, yo, but it ain't gonna be no freedom. It ain't gonna be no freedom. For people that know these boys personally, they're gonna spend a nice portion. You talking about a murder, attempt murder, first degree assault. We talking about big boy hefty charges that they, at their age and their mind, they don't even understand what's going on. They can't comprehend it. They probably think they're going to catch 5 years, 10 years. No. They might catch somewhere close to life. 80 plus, 50 plus. But I'm going to keep my eye out on this case, y'all. And I want to know how y'all feel about it in the comments, yo. Is this a win for the community? You know, because carjackings haven't went down since they took them boys off the streets. But we got to understand, they do got to face consequences, you know. I don't want nobody to get that confused and think that's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, that they don't need to be in trouble. I don't know, somebody lost their life. They gotta face consequences. I just want us to get better at creating better children and better environments so they don't think that this was even an outlet, so they never have to even go down this path. That's just how I feel about it. But let me know in the comments. Another day, keep it G News, and I'm out.
Nigga can't do what I do, y'all niggas can't copy me. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep the shit G. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep shit G.